This is the 221st episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the first week of August 2015. This episode is titled Email Ninja. CloudFocus Weekly will be live at Dreamforce 15 in the admin zone. Times, details, dates, and all the other stuff you need to know about that are coming soon.
Dates are pretty locked in.
Well, we don't know what actual days we will be podcasting.
We'll be podcasting between the start of Dreamforce and the end of Dreamforce.
Probably 3 times.
Yeah, I think 3's a good number.
3's a good number.
3's what we did last year.
Right. So, but we'll be talking much more about that. But stay tuned for that. We also will have swag. I am your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me, of course, Badinsky here, Mr. Justin Edelstein. How are you doing, Justin?
Hiya!
He went from very sleepy to very awake just in seconds.
That's what I do. I'm a professional.
You are. I
just jump right in.
Just like take some soda or something. It's just like, oh, I'm just so awake
now. Hey, how'd
now.
you know? Look, this is my soda right here.
Yeah, it looks like vodka.
There it is. Vodka soda.
Soda.
It's in there.
So this came about. This is yet another one of our very special episodes, which we'll soon be repeating on every other week.
Everyone keeps asking for special episodes, and then there's so much going on in the Salesforce world, but I feel like there's a lot that we can't talk about that's going on.
I want to wait till all that stuff starts to really be talkaboutable.
Yeah.
Talkanicable.
That's not a thing.
Yeah, it is. And then we can talk about it. So this is a good way to just like fill a gap in the summer when there's stuff that we can't talk about.
You like how I did that? It was like, yeah, we know stuff.
Yeah, we do, but we can't talk about it. Even that you say we know stuff, you could be killed for that.
People know that I know, but what they don't know is what I actually know.
I know it's less than you think you know. Chew on that
for a second.
Yeah. So this one actually was asked by one of our loyal listeners, saying that they, I think I hinted at it. I said, maybe we'll do an email episode.
It's because we did the GTD episode. These need to be spaced out better.
Yeah.
I mean, now that we're doing it, we may as well just do it.
Yeah, let's just not do this. All right.
Next, we're done. Thanks for downloading.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye.
So this is going to be an interesting one, like the GTD one from years ago, and even week review, the ones we've done special. We kind of try to make this more conversational. This is a little bit of opening the kimono.
Don't do it.
Yeah, opening the kimono.
Don't do it.
And because
hammer don't hurt them.
This is something that we do at Arkus. This is a workshop that we do at Arkus. And when I mean I make everybody go through it, and I do it. So it has some structure to it, but we're going to try to make it a little bit more conversational, because otherwise it would just be me doing it by myself, which could start CloudFocus Weekly with Jason, which is the next, since scheduling with you is so difficult. You're such a busy man.
Listen, I'm sorry about last week. I had an emergency.
That's true. We had it scheduled.
We were doing this last week. I had an emergency trip to the dentist that I had to make.
Yes.
Emergency trip, and then the word dentist, never a good thing together.
Never good.
No.
Never good.
Especially when you're a professional speaker. Broadcaster, if you will.
So we're gonna leave all the blog posts. There's been a couple good ones. One by you and one by another fella, and probably next week there's another one coming out. So by the time we get there,
there ought to be.
There ought to be. We hope that there is. There will be at least three blog posts to talk about, so we can get back to that. So we actually have content for next week, which is great. But let's get into Email Ninja.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to try to go between what is a conversation and what is sort of a one of my TED Talks.
I'm going to try my best to facilitate this.
All right, go ahead.
I'm going to do my best Peter Coffey impression.
Excellent.
I'll never put myself on that level.
Yeah, really. I don't know why you tried that.
That man's a genius. So, as you said, this is something that we do here at Arkus.
Yep.
We are, if nothing else, productivity nuts, right? We've done this GTD podcast. We did the weekly review podcast, which is just a portion of GTD. And email is something that people sometimes they get sucked into at their job, and it's like, oh, my job is now just answer. I get 1,000 emails a day. I must be very busy. or you just get 1,000 emails a day, which really is terrible. So let's just talk about how we at Arkus think about email and managing email, and some tips and tricks and hints. So what are a few of the things, if you were to say, if you want to master email, if you want to become an email ninja, in your mind, what are, say, like 4 or 5 rules of the road?
Maybe 5.
I'm trying my best, and you're blowing up my spot here.
It's so good. No, it's good. This is the banter interwoven with the content. It's content and banter like this.
I'm reading off a slide deck, and I'm trying to make something
Trying to make it into a question?
It's a bulleted list, and I'm trying to make something
what
out of it.
What are those 5 things on the bulleted list?
This is why I'm the professional.
Yeah, so
I'm making something out of it. You're just regurgitating things you already said.
So I would say, I'll go a little preamble about
ordered list.
About
go
email.
on.
Yes, here's things that I have in front of me that I could read. By the way, I'm not going to make this presentation available. It is a little bit internal only, but whatever. So sorry, not going to do that. But I think what I've been thinking about for a long, long time, and the reason we do this as a workshop here at Arkus and why every employee has to go through it, is because email is something that we, a lot of people go out of control, and I think a lot of people do feel inundated. I remember working with people at some of these companies where they would look at their inbox and they just put their head on their desk. Like they have I have 200 million unreads, and they would do things like email bankruptcy, which is where you just take every email that you haven't done anything with and you just delete it or throw it into a folder and start again.
It's the best. It's like everything in here means nothing.
And you hear all these people say like they have problems with email and they have issues with emails and how to overcome email. And so I started thinking about like I don't have an issue with email, and I don't think you do either. But because we have systems and we have rules and we just know how to rule email. So I came up with these, the 5 rules to email mastery. I will say there's a lot of stolen art in this one. I'll give credit to two of the masters that I think are in this world. One is Merlin Mann, who does a great seminar.
When's that book he's writing going to come out about inbox zero?
Well, that actually fell through as like, it wasn't because he didn't write it. It fell through as a book.
Well, then publish it. Yeah. Under some Creative Commons license or something.
Anyway, so he does a talk called Inbox Zero, which there's a
find it on YouTube. It's fantastic.
It is very good, and there's a connection between sort of this is where the GTD, and I think why us doing GTD is important before this, because there's all these kind of theories that kind of go together, and so there are a couple that are gonna merge into it. So the first one I like to do, and the first one I talk about in the first rule, let's say.
Why don't we list them off and then we'll go through them in some detail?
Sure. Why don't you read off the 5 rules then?
Well, I asked you what were your 5 things, and then you totally disregarded my question.
First, okay, fine, I'll do it. 1, email is not your job. 2, do sprints, not marathons. 3, process to 0. 4, fast and furious. And then 5, sweep the legs. Those are the 5.
Okay.
Those are the 5.
Very good.
Yeah. And there's also, again, the deck has like funny pictures.
If you were just to, everyone has email.
Yes.
Right? How many email accounts do you have?
7.
7 active that you use on a regular basis.
Yep. And that's down from, I used to have about 12.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how many I have. Work.
Oh, I have many more that
I'm thinking the ones I use.
Yeah, use.
Like work is by far the most widely used one, like by a large percentage. And then I have 2 personal ones, 1 extremely personal, like only one other person uses it. And
at that point it's text.
Pretty much. And then I have a spam one.
Right.
Like a personal, like it's just spam.
Right.
And then I have like my AOL account.
Right.
Does that count? And my Yahoo account.
No. It doesn't count if you...
like those I don't use
I
ever.
consider the ones that you check every day, your email accounts.
Yeah, so I think I have about 5 of those.
Yeah. So I have 7. They're definitely... I like to use email accounts as a way of separating out things. So that's why having an Arkus email account and having a personal email account and having kind of I buy all my stuff through Amazon email account are great. I'm on the PTA. I have a PTA email account. But that means when I'm communicating and I need to go in and find stuff, it's nice that I can just go in there. So let's talk about the first rule of email, which I call email is not your job. Because I think everybody gets really caught up in doing of email. That email is like, oh, I got to do email, and I like to think of it as like you don't do email any more than you do faxes or you do phone. Like, it's not your job unless you work at Google in the Gmail department. Then you can say email's my job. Like, to me, everybody out, it's not your job. It's just a communication. So like, it's just a tool, and like any tool, you have to learn how to use it, how to be good at it, how to make sure that it's not overtaking your life. And so what we're going to talk about today are things that you can do to make sure that email is not taking over your life and becoming that thing that you think about as painful. Like, I don't think about email as painful. It's just a communication tool. It's fine. It's like, it's no more difficult than any other communication tool that we have.
And the thing about email is, in some respects, you have almost no control over it. And in other respects, you have complete and total control over it. Meaning, anyone can send you any number of emails at any time, whenever they feel like it.
Yep.
You can get 100 emails between the time we started this podcast and the time we end this podcast. But you have total control over the fact that you don't have to look at them.
Right.
You can turn your email off. That's up to you. And you can deal with them later. Like, when I went on my honeymoon, I was gone for 2.5 weeks. And in 2.5 weeks, the emails started to pile up.
Yep.
But it wasn't that big a deal. It took me, I actually decided that while I was on my honeymoon, I was not going to check email, but I was going to very specifically go into my mobile device and delete emails that I knew were garbage.
Right.
So that by the time I got home, I would have less than 1,000 to actually go through.
Right, because you delete all the garbage stuff. Which
just
is
garbage stuff that I didn't care about.
And you're right. The email you can't control. It's like, we get mail, like actual physical mail, once a day. Like, the mailman comes, delivers it. But imagine if the mailman came every 10 minutes or every 5 minutes or every minute and was delivering mail to you, and you had to go downstairs or go out to your box, open up the box, get the email, get the mail, go back upstairs. But what I like about it, and what I think the good news is, the tools now for email are they're the most advanced tools we've ever had. Like, if you think back to Outlook and Eudora and AOL and what you could do and how you could handle email before. So, in fact, we're kind of in the golden age, and people think of email as like this thing that's going away, and yet everything goes into email. So you can say, I use Facebook Messenger, but it just goes into email. I use Twitter, but all your tweets and stuff go into email. Email is kind of the catch-all for everything. So I like to say you can't win email. You can't be the greatest email person ever and win. But if you're not good at email, you can lose. You can lose your job. You can lose friends. You can lose family members. I guess you can't lose family. You can piss people off because people have an expectation that when they send you something that you're going to handle it and you're going to get back within a certain period of time. Again, the expectation is different. But you hear from people. You send them an email. Say, I sent him an email 2 weeks ago. He hasn't responded.
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of mad. Like, what's wrong with you?
It's just like sending a text to somebody and not getting a response or an acknowledgement. Right. I was talking to someone earlier. I said, so we're going to do this email thing. Like, what's some, something you would say and like as a tip or a trick or whatever. And, one of the first things he said was something that he learned that they do at Google, which is if somebody sends you an email, even if you're not going to do anything with it for a day, a week, or whatever, just reply and say, got it, or thank you, or acknowledgement, whatever. So that the person who sent you that email understands the fact that you've read it. That's like a nice courtesy. Like, if you send someone an email and you're waiting for them for a week and they never say, they're going to either do the thing or not do the thing, and you have to follow back up, kind of stinky.
I would change that to say, I would not respond to every email with I got it. I would only respond to emails to where I got it with things that I'm going to take more time than I would typically take to answer the email.
Sure. No. That's for those types of things.
Right. For the ones that you need to think about or want to ponder or want to consider, or as we talked about a little bit before in weekly review and GTD, you're thinking about your commitment. Am I going to commit to this or not? Or I'm going to check my calendar, or I'm going to talk to my wife about it, or I'm going to whatever. You need to think is this something I'm actually going to do? And so, yes, at that point I'll say, hey, got this, I'll respond. But that to me means I'm going to respond more than 24 hours from now, meaning it could take a next week. And then I think it's also good not just say you got it, but then when you think you're going to respond. So I got your email. You know what? I think I'll get back to you. Can I get back to you on Monday on this? Or I'm going to look over the documents and I'll get you any questions I have.
Yep.
So we'll go to rule 2.
Yeah. What does this even mean? Sprints, not marathons.
So this, I think, is the biggest tool, and this is the ones that I've heard. This is the one Merlin is known for, which is that email shouldn't be something that is constant. It shouldn't be something that is calling to you and pulling from your attention. I mean, when we used to, the biggest example is AOL. When you logged into AOL,
you've got mail.
You've got mail, right? And because there were times if you logged in, you didn't have mail. But that is no longer a truth. There is no you don't have mail. You have mail always and forever and now and now and now. And so one of my tips, big tips, and again, I try to teach this for people. Everybody doesn't take the full advice. Is you should just turn off every notification for email. Turn off every kind of auto pulling or whatever. You do not need to know every toast, everything like that. You do not need to know that you have new email unless you're waiting for the codes to launch a nuclear missile to take down the country. You don't need to know you have email. There are times when you're in your email doing email, and obviously you're then checking and looking at email. But email is not something that you should be notified that you have new of, or how many you have new of. Like on my phone, I don't have push email. When I want email, I go in and I click get new, and then within seconds it comes down.
My phone does not push email to me.
Right. I don't need.
I do remember the days of working at the large company though with the BlackBerry and getting pushed and getting buzzed
and whatever.
Now it really is to the point where people who get email pushed to them but on vibrate doesn't really bother me if I'm sitting in a meeting with them. But if I'm sitting in a meeting with someone and like every 4 seconds there's a boop,
oh yeah,
boop, or whatever that sound might be that they've got set on their phone because they're constantly just getting an email, that kind of bugs me to no end.
It's like being notified that air is happening or that a new child is born on the earth. Like there's no point in notifying you about something.
What's the thing here? Turn off your notifications. Maybe even just turn your email client off from time to time and turn it back on when you feel like.
So if you believe rule 1, which is that email is not your work, right? Email is just a way of communicating about work because the work is the thing you do when you're not staring at your email. Then sometimes you need to turn off your email and you should be sort of getting out of it. And I think one thing is to make sure that, and we talked about this a little bit about the standards of email, make sure that you set a standard with people that you are what you're going to and how you're going to respond. So people who know me know that I'm going to respond within a certain period of time. I would say it's within 24 hours. If you ask me, I would say I pretty much respond to every email within 24 hours. That's kind of my thing. I try to do that.
That's kind of your thing.
Well, no,
that's my thing.
But that's about where I am.
Now, that's what Jason's known for.
If
you know Jason, you know he responds to email within 24 hours. Unless he has no internet.
Unless I have no internet or some other reason. But I also do emails in sprints, meaning I don't sit and have my email open all the time and look at it all day long. There are times when I'm doing email, I kind of in there for 15, 20 minutes at a time, and I'm kind of pounding through email, and you might get a very quick response. But there are times when I shut down email and I go off and I actually do work for a couple hours, and I'll come back and get email when I need to. So I think doing them in sprints, but also setting up a standard. I make an analogy to an employee here who was very fast with his email and responses, and so fast in responses and constant responses to people that when he went to do training for a client for a Friday morning, I got not one but 2 of his clients calling me and emailing me directly, being like, "Where is Roger? What's wrong with Roger?" I guess I just used his name, and anyway, it's out on the internet now. And I was like,
well, he'll be listening tomorrow.
He'll be listening.
And he'll be happy you mentioned his name.
True. And and they're like, "Where is he? Where is he?" And I was like, I don't know. Let me go, figure it out. And I figured it out. And I was like, oh, he was just a training for like the morning. But because he had set a standard of answering emails very, very fast, that they kind of got used to that standard. And anybody is like that. So you just have to make sure that when you're answering things, like if you don't get an email back from me in a week, you'd probably think I was dead.
Well, that might not be like my first instinct.
Well, I'm saying if you sent me an email, you didn't live in my building or work with me every day.
I'd text you or maybe text
Hey, did you get my email? It'd be like, what the heck? Because that's not a typical response from me.
So, Roger, slow down. So I'd like to skip ahead to rule 3, process to 0.
Sure.
I feel like it's a cross the line thing.
Yes.
It's kind of a GTD thing.
Yep.
Is this a Merlin thing or is this a David Allen thing?
This is David. This is
More of
definitely
a David Allen thing. So, I mean, I like this rule. I've been operating under this rule for a long time, since I think Merlin, really since getting into Merlin, listening to him on podcasts and watching him on YouTube and stuff many, many years ago. The idea of processing to 0, so getting your inbox to 0. And that doesn't necessarily mean 0 emails that you need to do things with, but it means when you're looking at your inbox, you're unread, there's nothing in it. That's what it means to me.
Right.
Because your inbox is your inbox, but then you have, other inboxes.
And
like
Gmail now does this. Like I used to have a hack, or I still have a hack on my email client to do this, but Gmail kind of does this out of the box with a new view, which is they can give you a view where you can only see, unread, and everything else is gone, right? So I think, processing 0 to me is two things. One, you need it's taking in the GTD rule of the 2-minute rule, which is to be able to very quickly look at something, say, what is it? Do I have any next actions on this? Is this a project? Is it a greater outcome? Do I need to trash it, defer it, whatever? And I think if you get really good at that, when you're looking at emails, you can just pound through them very quickly. So when you're doing these sprints, like every hour, every 2 hours, and you're sprinting into email, you can get good at just going through and going delete, change, flag, which is
star,
which is right. We do flags and stars, and just go through them. And it's like, okay, there's something I need to do in this email, but it's bigger than 2 seconds. Let me flag it. Next, this is a spam email. Delete. Next, this one I can respond. Got it. Next. Like you get to go very fast to get through them, but you're doing that because you've learned how to basically use the 2-minute rule to go through your email and not get caught up on any one email because you want to go through them. You want to get through the list first.
So along these lines, 2 questions for you. The first one being, do you think of emails differently if they are, I guess this is a 2-part question, if your name's in the to line and if it's addressed to you, like, hello, Jason, versus like a hey or no, whatever salutation.
Right.
But you're in the CC. So like you would think about those very differently, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 2 things to that. One is there should be sort of standards about writing emails. And I think one of the nice standards that we try to practice, is that when I put you in the to line of an email, I'm asking for action from you. You're the person I'm sending this to. This is for you to do something with. It might just be read it. It might be comment. It might be respond. It might be do whatever. But to means something. CC means something. It means carbon copy. It means this is just for your information. So if you get a CC, I can immediately look at an email and go, CC means I don't have a direct action out of this email.
I agree.
Right?
I go by the same sort of rule of thumb, but I'm not certain that everybody thinks that way.
But when I'm writing emails, I do that. The other thing that I do and look for is my name, because it's easy to go into an email and see if the email says Jason, comma, blah, 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 then I know this is for me to take action. Because I think where email gets really bad is when there's 20 people in the to line and it says team, stuff. And you're like, well, who is supposed to take action on this? Who is supposed to be responsible for this? And this ultimately it's very GTD, but it's like, that's where these things get lost because it's amorphous. No one knows who's supposed to do anything. So we get lost in the what and the who and so then nobody takes action on it.
Right.
So it's like sitting in a meeting saying we should do X and nobody says I got that, right? Because you need to know who's got this. So in emails, I use to means I'm sending to. If there's multiple people in a to, then it means I'm looking for both of your attention. And I probably put both of your names. I sometimes put Bob and Jerry, blah, 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 blah. I'm looking for you to do something.
I like when people will write, Jason, blah, 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 done. Larry, blah, 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 thanks.
Right.
This is for you. This is for you. It's both to you. Copied some other 2 or 3 people.
Right.
But I need this from you and I need this from you. It's very clear.
Yeah, and I think that's, again, it's a good tool, but it can be used poorly. So one of the things is to start to use it well and then ask. If I get an amorphous email like that, I don't know what, I'll ask. I'll say, is there anything in this for me? And I'll shoot it back and and ask that person if there's something that they need from me out of this. I'm looking for, is it actionable? Is it something I can do quickly? Is it something that I need to respond to? And then more importantly, is it something that I need to think about? And if I'm thinking about it, I sometimes think the best emails that I ever respond to are the emails that I took me like 12 hours to respond to, because I had to think about what I needed to say. I need to go do something. It's very easy to be like, yes, no, blah, blah. But sometimes the better response is a thoughtful response, or where you need to do something that sort of moves it along, as opposed to just kicking the can.
So I had another question.
Sure.
As part of sort of this process to zero, do you use email, and this is another like GTD concept, as reference material? So I know that you use mail.app on the Mac OS X, and mail.app actually allows for you to flag with different colors.
Yeah.
So you can flag red, which is kind of the out of the box, but then you can flag green, you can flag yellow, you can flag blue, whatever. So do you ever just sort of leave, because someone sent it to you in email, just sort of leave it there but flagged in a different color perhaps as a reference? Or do you, if I need that, I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it in my other brain Evernote, or I'm going to put it in a Google Doc somewhere or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, my flag, so the way I handle email is I do them sprints. I go into my inbox, which is a combination of every inbox just in red. If I read something and basically if I read something and don't take any, like I just need to refer, then it will go out of my inbox, because it's kind of a smart inbox that says just unread. If I need to take action on it, I flag it, and that's it. I have one flag, and my goal is at the end of the day, again, processing to zero. While I might have flagged things throughout the day, I might be on my phone flagging things, I might be at the store, right? Because that's what's nice about now with email, is that I could be out and I know that I'm on my phone, but I can't answer this on my phone because it needs more than that response. So I flag it, I go back, it's flagged to my desktop, and then at the end of the day, I try to get through all those flags. And at the end of the week, as part of my week review, which we've talked about, I make sure that there's nothing flagged, because it's my way of saying clear the plate. Now, if there's something that's been flagged for 2 days sitting there, that's probably an indicator that there's some bigger thing I need to do, and I should take this out of email and go put it into one of those other trusted systems where I can capture what I need to do. It goes to OmniFocus as a task, and that's one of my kind of hard landscapes. Is I'm like, if I haven't taken action on this in a couple days, time to kind of move it to the next thing. Maybe I need more information. Maybe I need whatever. So flag is one flag. If I have more than 4 or 5 things flagged in my inbox at any one time, that'd be amazing, because I don't. And anything and if it's staying there for too long because it has attachments or something, basically it probably should go somewhere else. Like, those attachments shouldn't stay in email. They're not reliable in email. The email is not good with attachments. It's not shareable. So I'm like, if it's a project stuff, I should be putting it into a project folder. Let's do that. That takes 2 seconds. If it's a receipt or a thing, let's just save it and move on. So I will flag throughout the day, and then I will almost try to get unflagged by the end of the day. Unless I'm going to handle it the next morning. Like, you send me something 8 o'clock at night, I would flag it. Like, I saw it. I might not respond. I might just flag it, and then I know that in the morning I'll respond to that.
Yeah, so I'll get it when I wake up, and
then I'll be up early, and I'll go
we'll
to
be
my
texting
flag.
at 4:45 in the morning.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to move on to
Okay.
the next rule, which we've called Fast and Furious, and I don't think that this is necessarily. Some of this has to do with mastering email, and it could be abstracted from email if you want to, because like the first thing here is just try to type really fast.
Yeah, I think this is David Allen. Give him all the credit on this.
This is a new age skill.
This
I can barely write. Just
me
seriously,
neither.
If you give me a pen and paper and ask me to take notes versus a computer, I cannot write as fast as I type. It is not even a thing, and then I can't even read what I wrote.
It's terrible. We're shifting from a world.
We're terrible human beings.
We're not terrible human beings. This is what we do. If you're a calligrapher and that's what you do calligraphy wedding invitations, then this is not important for you. But if you're a knowledge worker, which I think most of the people who are listening to this and most people who have problems with email,
buzzword,
knowledge work, well, Peter Drucker, knowledge worker, that the best analogy I've made or heard or whatever is really about like being a race car driver. Like if you have a race car driver, but you have a limiter on your car, so everybody else gets to go 200 miles an hour, or your car can go up to 200 miles an hour, but you have a limiter that only goes 55.
You got the governor
on it, so you can't go faster than that. And the best way to be good at email is to be fast at email. If it takes, I've seen the people who write, the people who usually I see struggle the most with email are people who can't type, because they can't sit there and just quickly put through many sentences, or to be able to use key commands and get through email.
Yeah, key commands mixed with typing fast
mixed with text expander equals the great.
Mixed with text expander equals good email skills.
Yeah.
Just out of the gate.
Yeah.
Because if you can just hop over to your email client, click a couple buttons to compose, type tab, type really quick, maybe expand something, and then hit the key command to send, you are in good shape.
Right, because you can do it quickly. So I suggest, and this is a strange thing, I suggest people improve your skill. If you go into one of these typing tests on the line and you're anything under
on the line, what is on the line?
It's in the interwebs. And you type anything below 60 words per minute.
In the movie On the Line.
Oh,
the internship.
It is. Oh, On the Line.
On the Line?
It's a
people problem.
If you talk anything below 60 word per minute, that's corrected. That's not just slamming your fist on the thing. You should be working on it. I think 60 is a nice thing. And I will tell you, I personally still, at 43 years old, I still take typing lessons. I do it every 10 days or so. I go into Mavis Beacon, which I have, and I take typing lessons because it's a skill. It's something that I do so much that it's like, if I can't do that quickly, I will be slower and slower and slower. So I've seen the people who can't type, and they're usually the people who are struggling with email. And then you need to learn your key commands. You should be able to do everything, either it's Gmail or whatever the application, folder, fast, move, doesn't matter what it is. You do it on the key and you do it quickly. The other thing is, know when not to have email or when not to use email. Email is not the greatest thing forever.
That was a
know
good
when
one.
to pick up the phone. It's something we teach here at Arkus. It's like there are times where it's just better to pick up the phone. I don't like the phone. I'd rather do email for everything. I very much unhappy when I send an email to someone and I say, "Can you send me information?" and they call me, and then I'll say, "I got your voice."
We'll just make Salesforce into the mix here just to do it. When you don't get Premier support reps, they don't like to listen to the whole "how would you like to be contacted?"
You can
preference.
put it in bold.
Please do not call me. They are calling you. It is happening.
There is a productivity thing with email, and maybe it's because I'm good at email, but I'm much more efficient at email. I can get you the information you need better, quicker, easier on email than I can on the phone. Now, there are scenarios where phones are better, but it's a very small scenario. So that's a good one. Fast and Furious, definitely go for 60 and above, master key commands.
And then the last one I'll just hop over to, which you've called Sweep the Leg, which I guess is mastery or whatever. These are a bunch of really, I guess, productivity tips, if you will. And I think some of these are geared very much towards mail.app, at least some of them. Well, smart folders, I guess you could have those everywhere.
They're everywhere.
I mean, there's a few of these that I really like. I'm going to just use the last one, don't move, search. So back in the old days of working at the big company, and I was very much my inbox was always at 0 and all that other stuff. But your inbox was only so big, right? Your email box was only 100 megabytes or something. I feel like that's an accurate statement.
Ours was much less than that.
Is it less than 100 megabytes? Was
it
it 50?
I think it was 25
you had to
or 30.
Ask and pay for more.
Yep.
So you had to move email.
Right.
You sort of just had to move it.
Right.
And you had to get good at key commands to actually moving them,
right.
which actually wasn't that big of a deal once you got good at that. But now, I mean, we're on Gmail. We got what is it? Unlimited, basically.
Yeah,
Unlimited space.
it's unlimited.
So I never move an email anywhere, and I've got the power of Google searching through my email and finding things for me. And you have mail.app with all the little things you can do, like, with attachments, sent by, this, that, the other. So the notion of filing email is a time waster.
Yeah.
There's no reason to file them. You can certainly have filters when things come in, maybe filter something from Chatter into like a Chatter folder. And you're like, you know what? I'll check the Chatter folder when I feel like checking the Chatter folder or something along those lines.
Yeah,
But
I don't even do that.
Yeah, I don't do it either, but I just pound through and
That's right.
flag if I have to.
And here's the other
That's
thing, and I think this is it's the third one. It's where Sweep the Leg came from, and it comes from the Karate Kid, Sweep the leg, Johnny. Which is, I think you should be merciless with email. Meaning, I think you should treat email as this onslaught to you. You should be making sure that you are trying to control the onslaught. I unsubscribe from everything. I don't, if I'm getting emails that I don't need, I don't take action on, and they're not useful, I'm getting them out of my way because they're trash. And so it's like I want to limit it. So if I get something, I sign up for some service, and all of a sudden they're sending me email, I am unsubscribing. My job is to go after information. If I want it, I don't have any newsletters coming to me. I get rid of all that stuff. The biggest thing I get, which I still unsubscribe from most of them, is the weekly digest from Salesforce stuff. And I leave it because it's once a week. It's Sunday morning. And I don't mind going through the 50 or so that I get. And sometimes they remind me to do things like go in and check on our group and success or something like that. But other than that, I mercilessly unsubscribe from everything that I get. I do not want I don't want to mix all that stuff. And people get into this mode where you'll get hundreds of thousands of emails, but how many of those are useful? So at this point, it's like, if you're just getting that thing because you don't want to get off the list, just click off and get off the list. But yeah, the search one is huge. The other one I use is a smart folder in Mail. And again, this is all documented on our blog too. You can go read how I do all this stuff. But I do one called non-responded, which I think you can do in Gmail too, which you can say, show me all my emails that are not responded. And I do over the last 10 days. And I filter out all the stuff that's like Amazon, receipts, anything like that. So obviously I'm not responding to those. And it's my way of coming back over the week and going, okay, is there stuff that slipped by me? And I find something almost every week. I find something that, because you can check email from a million places, from your phone, from your watch, from your iPad, from your thing, sometimes you read it, and since we're not foldering it or not doing anything with it, it kind of slips through. Like you read it and you forget to flag it, and then it kind of slips through the system. So you want to kind of go back and make sure. Let's see. I think, with emails too, it's like you should be concise. I say that no one reads the middle part of an email. It's always, dear blah. They read that. Then there's like the first sentence. Then there's this whole thing in the middle that no one reads. Then there's the thing at the end. I make sure that thing in the end is something important, right? If I need you to do something, I don't put that hidden in the middle. I put it at the bottom. Please respond. I need your this. Could you sign off? Because that's what people scan emails. You have to understand how other people deal with emails. They scan them. They don't really read them. So if you want to bury something, then fine. Put it in the middle of the sentences and they'll never see it. By reading this email, you owe me $1 million. But if you want them to see it, you either put it right at the top or you put it right at the bottom. Also, just know that the attention span of the modern knowledge worker is very low, and so there's times to just say, "Listen, this is too big for an email. Maybe this goes into a doc. Maybe this is a phone call. Maybe I need to jump on a WebEx and go over something." Sometimes the emails are just, you can't write this huge long thing because then the other person has to then spend hours reading through it to figure out what you're actually talking about when it's another way to be done. So those are just some of the things I think about. I'm trying to think. You did the move, be concise. Yeah, actionable is huge. If you're asking something of something, make sure they know what you're asking of them in the email. And then what else? Oh, we've
got like some best practices, which you just kind of went through. We have your whole thing about signatures, which I really don't feel like talking about with you.
Why?
Because you're very passionate about it, and I feel like
It's gonna piss off about half the people on this listening.
I'm gonna go ahead and just say Jason, not a fan of email signatures, finds them useless. I'm gonna end the whole conversation with that.
Why? Why can't I have a little bit more than that?
I just don't know if it's worth having more than that. I mean, that's basically it. I summed it up. I mean, you wrote.
No way. I think signatures are fine. Auto signatures are terrible. I use signatures very infrequently, but I have signatures on all my accounts, and I turn them on when someone says, "Hey, what's the address for Arkus?" I have one called Arkus address. Now, of course, I also have a text expander that does the same thing, but back before text expander, I would just put on this address.
I have a different take on signatures. I feel as though, and this is a setting in most email clients that people either know about or they don't, or are allowed to turn on or not. The first email in a chain that gets sent, if there's a sig in there, fine.
To someone you know.
Fine. But once it's a conversation, the signature should never appear again.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna have signatures come back into our life or whatever, I think that
they've never left.
Oh,
so it's not as though they're gonna come back into your life because they're still here.
Oh, I know.
They've never left.
Here's the thing: they get caught in every single one of these responding things. How many times you go into Chatter and see in the success community that someone responds to something via whatever, and then half their signature is caught in their Chatter post?
Listen, I didn't want to have this conversation with you because you're extremely passionate about it, and you'll just go down a million reasons why signatures are terrible. But there are reasons why they're not terrible.
Okay, give me the reasons they're not terrible.
When you want someone's contact information.
Okay.
That's why they're there. That's the purpose. It's like instead of someone having to reply to you and say, "What's your address?" they could have just had it. It's an extra thing that you need to do.
But that's
it.
But that's like
that's what they're for.
Right, but that you need that once. Once.
Great.
That's it. You never need it again.
But how are you supposed to know when you're sending an email like who to include signature to and what?
I said if you need my contact information, I'll send it to you because you only need it once.
And for branding purposes, a lot of companies actually require it. And then they have their disclaimers. And there's a lot of things that
disclaimers are terrible.
People cannot do anything about it. If in your personal email account you have a signature, that's weird. But if in your corporate email,
I used to have signatures.
In your corporate email, oftentimes you kind of just have to deal with it.
So, a couple of things that are just terrible about them.
Images are terrible.
Images are terrible.
Attachments
are terrible.
Ooh, yeah.
The ones that have auto attachments
is an attachment. That's
terrible because it makes every email look like you.
It hurts search.
Also, you know what else is fun about an email with an attachment or attachment in email? When you send it and it has all of your Twitter icons and all that, and you sent 3 documents, like 3 PDFs, and I save those documents, guess what happens? Every single time I've got to save your Twitter thing to that folder and then go delete it. I have people who send me this, and I have like hundreds of them there. They get caught up. They make reading email terribly hard.
Enough with the signatures. They
take up space.
Hey, we're going to wrap this up. There's
no, I have more.
No, there's not that much more.
I do.
There really actually isn't.
Oh, there's a whole thing that says
there's we have a lot of resources. I think can you, when you publish this podcast, can you just drop these links for people in the post?
Maybe. Oh, I can drop it and discuss.
Yeah. Or why not just in the post?
No, because that's just pain. I don't do that.
What's the difference between putting them in the post and discuss?
Because it's not in my text expander.
Oh, all right. Well, can you drop them somewhere? Because we have like 4 or 5 really good resources here in this presentation, one of which is the Merlin Mann Inbox Zero Talk at Google, which I highly recommend everyone watch. It's well worth it. It's a little old at this point, but still worth it for the concepts, and he's just a really good speaker. I feel like we should try to put some of these.
All right, but can I do my 2 other best practices which are important? I talked about one was to be personable, so put someone's name at the front. They should be. But I think the other one,
I think you mentioned all of
the expectations. Just make sure that in your email you're really talking about what you're expecting of the person, and I think take the extra time. I find this too. Take the extra time to put in something, to make a subject that's important, that means something. that lets them know what's coming. That's really important. So, the blank subjects, like, I would get them usually from the older generation. You get the hey, and is the subject, and then you have hundreds of the hey. Like,
Do you know that every single email
From
that
your
I've
mother.
ever gotten from my mother, the subject line is hey?
Right.
Every email that I've ever gotten from my mother has a subject hey, and I've gotten hundreds, thousands maybe. And I have tried so hard to tell her to stop doing that.
I'm
like, Mom, what if I want to like search for an email that you sent me to respond to it, or like to go find what you said like a month ago or whatever? I don't know what to like. I can search for what I think the thing's about, but like subject's a really good place to put what the email's about. So like, hey, doesn't really work.
It's a very, very good policy to put something in there. And as I do more and more things, and I send out things that are very obviously very common because I do the same thing. I'm a consultant. I then try to make them unique because I'm thinking about not only the person who's reading it, but I'm thinking about me. When I need to go find that email again, right? Because search is good, but I have emails going back to 1996. I have something like 170,000 emails.
Wow!
But I can find them very quickly. But if I know in the subject I put X, then that'll make it easier because that's just another thing.
It sure will. The
right.
subject's like, I'm sure that in the algorithms of searching through mail, subject has a way higher priority if you were to dial them up and dial them down,
maybe,
than some random word in the body.
Right. No, it's absolutely true. All right, so that's our email. So remember, Email Ninja, we have email's not your job, sprint's not marathon, process zero, fast and furious, sweep the leg. I think we discussed all that. That's good. I will try to I'll put them in discuss. So you have to go to the blog post or to the post on the website. You have to look at them in discuss. That's not going to hurt you.
Or how about in just as links, like when you post it into Chatter in the success community?
No, they can click on the link and go to we need the hits on the website. We need hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hits. We get paid for every hit. No, we don't. We get no advertising.
Arkus.
Yes, that's true.
Pays for all those hits.
So next time we'll catch up with all the blog posts. We have tons. You have one on permission sets. So I think we have a couple other neat ones.
I have one on permission sets.
And I think we're about to kick off on our Dreamforce set of blog posts. Aren't they coming up soon?
You're going to make me look, or do you want to...
Well, you can go look.
I'll look.
I can look too.
You keep talking. All
right. Well, no, we're going to do our CloudFocus Picks of the Week. So...
I can do that while looking. Right. Blog calendar. Hold on. I got it up. We have one more next week.
Yes.
And then we're kicking right into Dreamforce gear.
Ooh, next week is going to be interesting.
Yeah, next week's going to be very interesting.
Okay. And then we have... I'm kicking them off.
You have the first one. Do you want to preview it, or you want it to be a surprise?
I'll be a surprise. I started writing it.
Good.
But yes, we have 1, 2, 3, 6.
I'm actually not writing a Dreamforce one this year, which is...
That's weird.
But
weird.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
That's the way the Blogmaster wrote it.
Well, I didn't. It just happened to be that way.
Yeah.
I might actually flip in. You'll notice that there's someone in there supposed to write something about Dreamforce, and I may flip into that spot just for fun for myself and flip her. Maybe we'll have 2 posts that week.
Yeah, you can have double posts. Well, I think next year we're going to change a little bit how we do blog posts anyway. But anyway, all right. So
all right.
You're going to pick. Wow, this is quite the pick.
Why is this a pick? Why is this quite the pick?
All right, pick it.
Why?
I don't know.
What's wrong?
It's up there with Google.
You've picked Spring 12.
Yeah. But you're about to
CloudFocus app pick of the week is Spring 12.
You're about to pick, your own Spring 12. This is your Spring 12.
Not really. I've never used it before.
That doesn't mean it's a pick. It just means you could pick a toilet paper and be like, I've never used it before. Everyone else will be like, yeah, we've all used it.
But what is that supposed to mean? We've all used it. So you can't pick things that people have all used before? I don't understand. Like, what are we supposed to be doing here with these picks?
I'm picking air. I think everybody. I really just how
I've decided not to make a pick this week. I'm passing.
You?
No, I'm passing.
Tell us why. I have not used this service.
Hard pass.
No. Go
hard
on.
pass.
I'll make it for you.
Hard pass.
I'm gonna make it for you.
Hard pass.
Justin is gonna pick.
I'm picking Airbnb.
Okay.
I signed up for it the other day on my phone.
Nice.
And I'm traveling to London in October 2nd. I'll be there through the 5th.
Yes.
And
Will you be there live? Are people going to be excited to see you?
Maybe anyone who's listening. I know there's a bunch of folks over there, but I don't think they're in London. They're near thereabouts. So traveling there, don't really want to go through the hassle of doing a hotel, and was thinking, oh, you know what? I'll do this Airbnb thing. Guy who works here, he traveled through the south of France all on Airbnb and like didn't even book anything till he got there. So I started looking on the phone and tons of little filters you can use and neighborhoods and this many beds and this many rooms, and I want the entire place, or I just want a room, or I want this and that, and I want internet, and I want TV, and I want pet friendly, and every single option under the sun. And then what I think is the best part is it has like reviews from real people.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, this was really nice, and so was really easy to reach, and they like, you know, left me a bottle of Prosecco or whatever, like when I got there to welcome me. So I think I'm going to do my first ever trip where I'm not going to do a hotel. I'm going to do an Airbnb.
Nice.
But more the pick is I thought the app was pretty well done.
Oh, okay.
It was easy to go through, really easy to sign up for, really easy to just navigate, search, like London, boom. What do you want? Add some filters, shows it to you where it is on a map. Really nice. Cool. Nice on the browser too, on the desktop.
Yeah,
really
on the desktop
nice
it's very nice. It's a really
mobile.
nice app. I too have never used it. I too was looking for a similar trip. Wait, no, the exact same trip. And I did get a hotel because I'm old school, but I was looking at other Airbnb places, and it looks really cool. I haven't done it yet. I still have this thing I want to do, and I've said this before, I want to do an Airbnb where it's like down the street. So if it turns out to be terrible, there actually is an Airbnb in our neighborhood that's a van that you can go sleep a night in a van. I'm serious.
Creepiest thing ever.
No. It's like a sleeper van.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's
I've
terrible.
seen the articles.
Yes,
about
there's
it.
articles all over the place. Anyway, cool Airbnb. So everybody, you guys should go learn about Airbnb, just because I know you've never heard of it before. Justin,
that is not the point of
Justin's
this.
so angry.
You know
Justin's so
I am
angry.
really angry.
You didn't let me talk about signatures.
No,
then this is what you get.
I'm
this
really
is what you
angry
get.
about this because, listen, that is not the point of the CloudFocus app pick of the week. Is to be like, let me find the needle in the haystack that no one's ever heard of before, ever. That is not the point
I'm gonna pick
of this.
America because I've heard it's a great place to visit.
I'm so glad you're cracking yourself up. No one else is laughing right now. Everyone's on my side. Everyone's on my side.
I really like. I found that it's a gasoline. I've heard it makes cars go.
Not my Tesla.
Not that Tesla. All right. Sorry. It just struck me a little bit. So Justin's CloudFocus app pick of the week is Airbnb on the iOS. How's that? Does that make you feel better? Nope, he's literally ignoring me now.
I already dropped the mic. I'm done.
Oh, don't drop it because we don't have that many left. All right, so mine is something that I have been playing around with. I've been wanting to buy for a long time. I had the reason to buy it the other day and install it in my household, which is Philips Hue. So Philips, being a, I guess, big conglomerate, has a smart lighting system, and they have lots of components to it. They have light bulbs, they have lamps, they have light strips, they have controllers. You can control it from your phone. And their whole thing is that these light bulbs, you have to get the right ones, can do any color. And so this Hue light bulb can do any color on the spectrum. And I guess not any color, but whatever, it can do a ton of colors. And then you can set them up and control them from your phone to do other colors. So you can kind of mix and match. You can have them come on or off. They have all this kind of smart home, smart thing stuff. And so I recently redid my daughter's room for her 10th birthday, and she's big into tech. And so I thought, well, I'm going to put some tech in there for her. So I put in some Philips Hue stuff, and it is pretty darn cool. Like what you can do, you can set up these scenes, you can click on the scenes, it controls all the lighting. It's very, very cool. I can't wait till it connects up to like HomeKit and other things. But for now, pretty neat. You can actually connect it up to if this, then that.
Haven't they renamed themselves?
Whatever.
So like
if. So you could do something
shows
like,
that Mr. America.
you could do it every time the Jets score a touchdown, it could turn all the lights in your house green.
So like never.
So anyway, it's very, very cool. It's got all sorts of stuff. It can obviously go with music. Philips Hue, it's not cheap. That's the one thing I'll give them. They have a lot on the spectrum. So again, they have these things, and really to make them kind of fun, you need more than one. Like you can't just have one lamp because it's like, oh, look at that lamp. So in her room, I did a bunch of them so she can kind of control all of them. Anyway, it is pretty cool. I've really been enjoying it. She hasn't seen it yet. She gets to see it next week or 2 weeks from now. So it'll be interesting to see how much fun she has in setting up scenes and doing all sorts of stuff. You can also take a picture. Like I can take a picture of my dog and then like go right on his picture and like pick his color for the lights. It's really cool. Anyway, Philips Hue by Philips. Expensive. That's it. That's the cost is too much. Although it's all available on Amazon if you want to buy it there. All right. Well, that's it. If you want to follow Justin, he's at Just Edelstein on Twitter. I'm at Jason M. Atwood. At Arkus Inc. is the company. Facebook.com/Arkus Inc. Remember, Success Community Group, always in there. We have Dreamforce coming up, so there'll be lots of stuff going on in the Success Community Group coming up. We have LinkedIn, Google+. Remember to subscribe and review us in iTunes and Stitchers. That would be great. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed our email special episode. We'd love to hear from you if that's good, bad, different. We have some other ones we've been plotting away on. But until then, and next week, it'll be Justin and Jason saying, enjoy those cloudy days.